Paul is going to explain his counsel to the Corinthians so we can kind of understand where he's coming from. Again, in this pastoral counseling sense, we get Paul's heart here in these next verses. And it's, for me personally, it's been a really encouraging study. Verse 32, 1 Corinthians 7, Paul says, I want you to be free from the concerns of this life. Don't you see it? He's saying, look, I'm trying to help you here. I want you to be free from the concerns of this life. And then look what he says now. This might be hard for you to accept, all right? So, don't get mad at me, get mad at Paul. No, a lot of people do. This is the part where, that Paul. This is just the facts. It's just the facts. Verse 32, I want you to be free from the concerns of this life. An unmarried man can spend his time doing the Lord's work and thinking how to please him, please the Lord. But a married man has to think about his earthly responsibilities and how to please his wife. The beginning of verse 34, his interests are divided. Paul's not saying it's a bad thing. He's just saying it's the facts. If an unmarried man is wholeheartedly serving the Lord, he has additional time and energy to give the Lord. A married man can serve the Lord within the confines of his marriage because he must divide his interest between his wife and the Lord. Paul's just stating a fact. Continuing in verse 34, in the same way, a woman who is no longer married or has never been married can be devoted to the Lord and holy in body and in spirit. But a married woman has to think about her earthly responsibilities and how to please her husband. Again, Paul's not saying it's bad to be married. He's just doing the math and saying that an unmarried person has more opportunity to serve the Lord in a greater way than a married person because they don't have that divided interest. Now, we don't really know all of Paul's background that he's addressing with the Corinthians here, but we don't need to, because the encouragement is really, really clear. And now it's specifically for singles. Paul's saying, look, if you're single, you have this incredible opportunity to serve the Lord at an increased amount and an increased intensity and increased passion because you don't have to divide your interest with a spouse. And the single people don't very often say, yeah, praise the Lord, that's what I want to do, be a nun, right? That's not what Paul's saying. He's just saying, look, it's true. If you're single, you can serve the Lord with greater intensity, for greater hours, with greater passion, without causing conflict in your marriage. So be blessed. That's what he's trying to say, is you have an opportunity to do something that married people don't have. It's a gift. It's a blessing. Again, it's simple math. There are only so many hours in a day. And there is only so much energy in a person's life. And so we need that. If you're married, you must divide your hours and say, I know the need's there, but I'm done at this point. You just have to. As a single person, you just drive yourself into the ground till you die of exhaustion, and all's well, But as a married person, you have to make those limits. You have to cut the limits. Paul's just trying to get across that being single can be a real blessing. I think single people have a hard time accepting it because we are made to be married. In our heart, we are made to be married. But what Paul's saying is that there is a time when it's a blessing to be single, and you can serve the Lord without those other needs being met in your life.